All right, it is 7:30-ish, and although it's been a while, we are back live in the man cave. I want to say what's up to everybody. Hope you had a relaxing Sunday evening. Appreciate you all rocking with us this evening. We do not take it for granted ever. Very appreciative, very humble, and all that stuff. And so we got a good one for you tonight. Been a while, so we got a lot to talk about. So I want to go ahead and get started. I want to start off by saying what's up to the All-State PG, All-State coach. What's going on with you fellas?
Happy Sunday, fellas. Happy Sunday.
They're
All right, man. Well, even though we've been away for a while, we want to still do things the same way. Before we get started, we want to make sure that we say congratulations, give a shout out to all of the class of 2023 graduates who walked the stage, who either have walked it or walking it or about to walk it. However you did it, congrats on making it through. Congrats on finishing an important chapter in your life. Hopefully you got big plans for whatever you choose to do, whatever future endeavors you got. But on behalf of PolkHoops, just want to say congrats. Want to start it out first before we go any further. So, having said that, PG, I don't know if you got anything in Tuma's tape. If you do, you got it, boss.
yeah, I do want to start off had an interesting little break that we had and um sent you guys a little snippet of a footage of a young kid that's at my school. Very talented young kid. And my question to you all is how early is it that you should be starting to look for the plan of your future now with sports, not just basketball, but with the talent level that we're getting now with NIL deals, all this stuff that's coming into place, that's becoming more of a business. How early should you start preparing your child or the kid preparing themselves for what can be what we consider the next level of sports now?
I don't think it's never too early, Toomer. I think the earlier you realize it, the better off you'll be in the long run as far as preparation goes. If the kid is talented early, is essential that you get him the tool and resources that he need. And that's not all the time physical. You know what I'm saying? You do need a trainer. You need to make sure that they're eating the right things in the weight room and honing their skills, whether it's on the football field or basketball field or whatever sport that you're playing. But at the same time, you need to get them mentally ready too, to make sure that they're doing what they need to do in the classroom, and just make sure that they're surrounded by the right people, because we have got a great example of John Morant right now of being surrounded by the wrong people.
I would say my answer is different now than it probably would have been 2, 3 years ago. But the fact that they ranking these kids so early, I'm I'm almost to the point whenever they start ranking is when you probably start to need to look at it because kids are getting offers earlier than ever before. So I think at least by the start of middle school at the latest, sixth grade, but probably in some cases younger than that because um, like I said, they're doing rankings now, so they're looking at kids a lot sooner than they used to in the past. So I do think if you ain't done it by the time you leave middle school, you unless you're just a phenom, you kind of
But
got.
fellas, you also got to be careful too, especially with these rankings in middle school. Some people are late bloomers, and some people bloom early. My issue and my concern when you ranking these kids in middle school, sometimes it gives, especially parents, a false impression. Me and some close coaches that we talk about all the time. Usually, you can tell between that ninth and 10th grade year, are they going to live up to the hype they probably got in middle school? You got to also imagine sometimes in middle school, these kids are bigger, faster, stronger. They hit high school and they don't grow anymore. You know what I'm saying? So, a lot of people have those same expectations, like, well, they dominated while they were in middle school, but yeah, everybody done caught up. They're bigger, faster, stronger, working on their skill set, and maybe, genetics come to play. So you still got to be realistic and continue working on your game and whatever. But sometimes, you have a early spurt as far as physically, but you might have an early one as far as being successful. And then when everybody catch up, then what's gonna happen?
Well, they've been doing the rankings at the early age from the beginning of time, right? And it's especially became more of a trend now for the kids, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. Just thought about it because like seeing the way the talent level is now is just more so of amazing. Like these kids are traveling like the young kid I spoke of, he's playing on several different AU teams at the young age. Um and he's playing at elite level. Uh I even sent it to Dominique, and he saw the interest in like the talent. And that's the other part of my second question about the when is it too early, because now you see a lot of the NBA players, kids, has pretty much taken over the trend of starting. Like when we were coming up, the kids that were the more talented kids were the ones that were coming out of the poverty level. Now it seems like the ones that are being spoken on now are the kids that are getting the exceptional training, you know. And it's like, what do you do to catch up, to stay at the same level? Is that when you don't have the same uh what is the key word, the same networking or the same connections
So
as the
yeah,
resources
Hmm.
resources. You know what I'm
But you know
saying?
what though?
You
It's important for parents and coaches to like get them to those high level programs, because with those high level programs you're playing with those type of kids, and a lot of times those NBA parents or WNBA or high level um, people, they'll bring them up under that umbrella where they're able to get that exceptional training also. I think that'll be something key for the kid that you have been talking about. You know
did,
what I'm
did you
saying?
did you see it? Did you see it?
Yeah, I seen it. You know what I'm saying?
So
But like you said, you got the Booster twins in that program. You know what I'm saying? So imagine just being in the program. I'm pretty sure they have somebody, hopefully, to help train all their kids.
so my last question, and I know we can move on from the boring guy. Um, when is it too early to say that a kid can play on a varsity level? Like, is eighth grade too early to be putting kids away from public schools and into private schools playing varsity basketball?
No, no,
Okay.
I encourage it. I encourage it. If a kid's in sixth, seventh, eighth grade, they can go to a junior, senior high school, or they can go to a private school. Even if they play JV, Tumor, you know what I'm saying? They're getting high school experience versus playing in a middle school program. Because middle school, we only play like 5 or 6 games anyway. You
Yeah.
go, you say you go to Victory, or you go to Frostproof, or you go to Fort Meade, and say you play JV, you're at least playing 15 games. But say you're good enough to even play on a varsity level. I know Coach Hanahan down at Warner, his kid played. He took his kid out of Bach, took him down to Frostproof as, I want to say, a seventh grader, seventh or eighth grader, started on varsity this year at Frostproof. I mean, that's valuable experience you can't trade for anything.
so that hurt. That hurts. That only benefits like what five teams in Polk County. That's that would be McKeel,
Yeah.
the Frostproof, Fort Meade, Victory, and Santa Fe, right? So, no, Santa Fe don't take 6 through 12, do they? I know Victory does. Santa
No,
Fe.
Santa Fe doesn't. Like Coach
So,
Sefton just mentioned Rowe and D Hardy, but can't only mention them without mentioning the two sisters also. The Hardy sisters, both of them played varsity basketball since like sixth grade. You know what I'm saying? So
I would not advise any kid that's on that talent level that could go to one of those schools to stay and play middle school basketball in Polk County.
no.
It It's grade A sanitation.
I mean, you're not lying, but like I said, it's a great situation at
What
McGill and those other schools for them to get varsity level experience.
can we do to improve the middle school basketball product in Polk County? Because it is. Do we want to say embarrassing? I mean, I don't know. I don't. That's a strong word, probably, but it definitely could stand to be better. And to answer your question, Mr. Alexander, how does it affect public schools? I mean, it doesn't affect a school like Fort Meade or Frostproof. That's a public school, but if I'm in the city of Lakeland and a kid goes to McKill, and McKill and Victor people don't come for me, but um, if a kid goes to, it doesn't hurt the kid. I mean, the schools if the kid ends up going to that high school when they can go, but if they don't, then they're gonna pull from those public schools. I mean, McKill's a charter school and Victor's private, but I mean, you get the point. I mean, KJ, a couple years ago, KJ was 8th grade and he went to Victory. He did it. He went to Victory to play varsity with Victory. I mean, he left, but it was like you said, it was valuable for him and it helped him. So, but my point on it was that the public schools can't do it because they don't have 8th grade considered high school. That was my point. I wasn't trying to make no knock on it. If it did, that's my bad. But yeah, that's what I'm saying. So, but then if you are, let's just say if you are and I'm just saying the schools that it's affected by. Let's just you said you mentioned Coach Hand's son at Frostproof in 7th grade. So he'll play Frostproof 7th and 8th grade, right? If I'm at Frostproof and I know, well, I won't say I know, but I'm assuming it's a likelihood that he's not going to finish at Frostproof. No disrespect to Frostproof, but it may come off that way. But do you take a kid? And even in the Hardy boys and the Hardy girls case, they went to McKill, and I don't know if McKill knew they was leaving. They thought they had a shot to keep them. But if you know a kid is leaving, they're just for that year. Do you take that kid? If you know they're gonna be gone,
Coach, they walk in the gym. They walk in the gym. You're not gonna tell them no.
Yeah, I'm just
You're not gonna tell them no.
Even if it's just a 1 year, it's a 1 year contract.
You're not gonna tell them no. You can't.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? And like Coach Justin, they knew about all the Hardys. You know what was up. You talking about like Serenity Hardy right now? She averaged 19 a game as an 8th grader at McKill. Obviously she was the best player on that particular team. You gonna tell that kid no?
I'm just asking the question that for a traditional coach, I know you leaving me before you even walk in the gym and shoot a layup. I know you leaving. So I just ride the 1 year wave. I'm like, no, you ain't gonna stay the whole time. Then good luck to you. You can't do it here.
What would you do, Coach K? Dookie.
We essentially bringing one and done to middle school, high school. I'm just asking the question.
You asking a question. I asked you the question. What would you do?
Oh, man.
Yeah, scratch your face now.
Yeah. That's what we. I can't be the only person that. But I guess like you say, Coach, they walk in the gym. Even if you know they only stay in 1 year, you just ride the 1 year.
They playing for me.
Okay.
Hopefully I have a car for them at the end of the 9 weeks.
Hey,
I'm gonna give 20 more shots a game. So
the question, man, because they might say, for example, the jitterbug at your school, and then the jitterbug at Bach. Them the like top two, like 7th grade phenoms, and the jitterbug at Bach, not Bach, at Boom. Jitterbug at Boom.
The kid at Victory, the battle kid.
Yeah,
and the battle kid at Victory.
Another one at Stanbar in Armandale. That's a 7th grader. That's really good.
That's fine. He's at Sleepy Hill now.
That's Sleepy Hill now. Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so you got these 7th grade phenoms walking around. As an 8th grader, like I don't know.
If I'm a parent, they at Frostproof, Fort Meade, Junior, Senior. They at McKill, or they at Victory or All Saints or something. I'm trying to get them varsity experience.
Listen, the stand-by kid who at me now, I ain't seen the Bot kid. Barnes seen the Bot kid.
Boom.
Boom. Okay, Boone kid.
Oh, the Boone kid, he's an 8th grader. He's 6'5". He's
Okay.
6'5". He a legit 6'5". Now,
Yeah,
I'm curious on where he's going to high school. I haven't heard anything
that,
yet.
that was my other thing. But the kid that came from Stanbaugh that's with us now, he has no business looking at anything that considers called JV
No,
at all.
and he
Like,
wouldn't play JV.
yeah, I'm talking about right now.
But you got to imagine, McKeel started an 8th grader last year at the point.
He's 7th grade, and I know he better than a bunch of 9th graders playing varsity, 10th graders.
I say go to do Lakeland Christian. Is Lakeland Christian able to do that? I don't know.
I think Lakeland Christian do. look at. Yeah, Coach, send them a kill. You know what I'm saying?
Two of them. That's two.
How you call it, Coach? Throw your head in the ring. Everybody else doing, huh?
Like the eighth grade I had, that was the point guard I was bragging on all year.
Mm-hmm.
So he reclassified.
He can do that.
Yeah, he
hadn't stepped foot into a high school yet.
Yeah, he reclassified. He did homeschooling from what I'm hearing, and he's gonna be an 8th grader again next year. He's playing on Night Riders with the kid.
So we'll talk travel ball, I guess, here in a second.
Let's get Coach on, man.
Maybe we'll segue in there. Coach, you want to do your coaching call now? You want to get Coach in?
We can wait.
Okay. Well, you can do it while Coach in here. He just hit that point.
No, we can wait.
We want to go ahead and don't keep. We got a legend, living legend, OG, that we finally was able to work out getting on the show. So we are very excited to chop it up with him, get some gems, and just let him hang out in the man cave. So without further ado, want to welcome in Coach, mentor. He got so many titles out, we'll lose count. But we'll start with Coach and mentor. Coach Bernie Hayes, want to welcome into the show.
B Hayes.
Coach, got your mic off. How you doing, Coach? Got it off again, Coach. Uh-oh. There you go.
Blessings.
Hey.
Coach, before you even get started, I got the question of all the questions for you. Still waiting on this one. What I did to get fired?
You stopped showing up.
Get it to him, Coach. You want to put it out there for sure. Get it to him. There it is.
I got fired, Coach at AAU, man.
No, he did.
Coach, that's how you remember the story, Coach?
That's how it is. He stopped showing up. I still call him. Still call him to this day.
Still ain't showing
Still
up.
call him to this day.
Still ain't showing up.
Still.
Coach, man, we appreciate you, man. We appreciate you giving us a little bit of your time, man. We know how busy you are, but we just so happy and honored to have you in the man cave. But before we get started, like we do with everybody else, you different, but we want to give you the same courtesy. Anything you want to say before we get started, and you got the flow to do that if you so desire.
I know. I just think tremendously of what you all are doing is been the steps in the right direction that we need to go, but everyone still needs to understand that you all are just trying to be informative. From my perspective, you're trying to be informative and you're trying to be upfront, but a lot of people take you all to be too serious and are very sensitive towards a lot of things that are said, when I think mostly you're looking for more input and trying to extend points so everybody will become a part of it so that we can actually grow, because that's what we need to do for the county. And we've got to come together as a whole. We've got to regroup, because even travel ball, some things have got to change here and gonna change here soon because of this NEAL and these other things for college athletes. So on all levels, things are going to change. If we keep not maturing and not advancing and just want to try to. I think you were saying something earlier, Corey. It's so many different teams now that we have to ask ourselves, what good are we doing if we're doing any good for any child? Because we're so spread out, so watered down. We're watering the talent down. So, and we're so sensitive. Good God bless it. We're so sensitive that people really don't know how to win, and we don't know how to win for these children, and we have to win for them and stop trying to win for our own pride. Um, Maybe some might say I'm being offensive, or maybe I might mimic, or I might live into that image. I pray that I don't, and I apologize if I do, because that's part of what it is. We really need to find ourselves in order to elevate ourselves, because we have to continue to humble ourselves in that realm if we're going to elevate all of the children in the county. That's whether they're playing football, basketball, golf, marbles, or tennis, or even now pickleball. So we've got to really come together and strategize for what is going to be needed going forward, because most of us are just stuck on the moment. And if we stay stuck in the moment, we're going to miss the opportunities to make the advancements and to elevate our children on the levels that need to go.
Coach,
Where
let me
they
ask you
go
this,
ahead.
Coach, because you along with Billy D, Coach Taylor, and Amari, you guys started probably one of the blessings of Polk County basketball years ago when you started Team Stat.
Yes,
Um,
sir.
and I mean, amazing where it started and where it took off at. Um, this question though, because what I think everything you're saying is right, and it's probably a couple questions I got to ask about it. Number one, do the parents now at a young age feel too entitled, like their kids are already that good to be a part of those type of programs, and when they're not and they're being overlooked, does that become a problem of the say so? Because we tend to hear it as their kid is getting overlooked off of favoritism. We sat in those gyms, me, you, Billy D, along with others, to see what the talent is. What are we missing that we can preach to the ones that listen to us compared to the ones that don't listen, to try to get that out? Because we got to start somewhere. We have the talent here.
We
Um,
do. We do.
because everybody overlooked that talent back then. And you guys brought it together. I came in on the late end of it, but you guys put something together that nobody would believe. But what are we missing now going into the next step of it? And I ask you this because you know more. You've been around it, and Billy D has been around it more than any of us. You know what I'm saying? As far as the next level of it. But it tends to seem like our kids and our parents want to ignore what's right here at home in front of them that could be the same opportunities that Dominique, Miguel, Kevin, Marcus, the list can go on, what they were able to get out of it.
You actually, Tuma, you have already mentioned some of my key elements, which number one, the parents. Number two, the parents lifting the expectations of the children. Number three, nobody is willing to work. Nobody is willing to put in that sweat equity that it takes, that the names of those players that you just call put in. We would be, you bring in Larry Murphy back, like I say, along with as you stated, Drew, and you bring us back in together. And if we were to coach the elite kids in the county the way that we coach them, people will say that we have lost our minds. Those kids those young men put in sweat equity.
Yeah.
Miguel Paul weighed what, 140 pounds? Marcus Capers was 6'3", probably weighed 150 pounds, 60 at tops. Kevin Foster was 6'7", probably weighed 175, 180 pounds. Dominic Jones, 6'3", but just had a football body. But what was significant about those young people was they were willing to start from the bottom. They were willing to put in sweat equity. And here's one important, real important, super important. One of the blessed aspects of them all, man, they flat out love the game. Those kids flat out love the game. They love the game. They wanted to learn the game of basketball. They pushed us to push them. The parents gave them to us, left them with us, and trusted us to do what was best for them. Then we put the parents to work with making calls to colleges, where I'm at, making calls to schools, their dream schools, the schools that they desired to go to. Why? Because the misconception today is that we are those of us who are coaching these, we're supposed to get these children scholarships and that it happens automatically.
Yeah.
And that we know that doesn't happen. And right now they're facing a giant that we can't defeat.
The transfer portal.
The transfer portal.
You know that.
Your transfer portal is huge. Do they realize, parents today do not realize Division I and Division II schools are picking up players who have been out of college for 2 or 3 years, bringing them back in because of the transfer portal, because of COVID, and now with this NEO effect. With that has given kids an additional 2 years. And if they have been out of school, Division I's, if they have been out of school for 2 years, now they can bring them back in. So guess what, Tuma? These kids now are 23, 24 years old, coming back into an institution where they can play now for 3 years.
That's why we see in the smaller schools that we're seeing in college basketball being able to play at that level versus those
play at that level. Look at your HBCUs. Your HBCUs now, the top teams are coming out and they're no shrugs.
Yeah.
They're able to compete on that level. Why? Because they got grown men. They got grown men on their roster. People 25 years old, 26 years old.
You said the key word that always get overlooked, and I know all three of us always talk about it, and I preach it over and over again, is putting in the work. Like, these kids do not understand what putting in the work is. And I mean, like you said, they're sensitive to it because I tend to joke around a lot. I tend to try to entertain. But when I'm talking for real, they don't want to listen to that part of putting in the work. You know, and you got, again, I'm glad you said it because we have not preached that part of it, fellas. That those 23 to 26-year-olds are coming back into the college to the college game and forgetting the high school kids. I know Division II doesn't even recruit high school kids that much anymore. I was just told that, like, why would I take a high school kid when I can get a D1 transfer?
Tumor, I just talked to an NAIA coach yesterday. I said, "Hey, are you finished with your 23s yet?" He told me, "No, we're not finished." I was like, "So you still looking for kids?" He was like, "Man, we're not looking for no high school kids. We're gonna get them from the portal." This NAIA,
Yes, sir.
we're talking about
Yes,
Division One,
yes.
Division Two. There's like, even though we have money left, they're not even trying to give it to a high school kid.
They're waiting. They're waiting to see who else is going to come up available out of the portal.
And just think, Stetson Bennett, the quarterback from Georgia, is like 30. He's not 30, but he's way older.
I never thought about that until I saw the thing.
Season.
Watch this. He's the same age as Lamar Jackson.
Yes.
Stetson Bennett is the same age or no more than a year younger than Lamar Jackson.
Same age.
That's interesting.
Coach,
This is what we're talking about.
I got a question for you and for Coach Billy D. So y'all guys are like legendary on travel ball. I mean, you legendary in regular season, but travel ball. And you mentioned earlier those guys that Tuma mentioned about Miguel and Dominique and Kevin, those guys, how much they wanted to work, how the parents would drop them off and just trust you with them, and you treat them like your own kids. How much has that changed as far as the parent? It's a multi-question. I see Coach about to fall out of his chair. Let me make sure I frame it right. How much of the change with the parent with that drop-off mentality, and allow you to just coach the kids, coach them hard, coach them just you. I trust you. Whatever you say is gospel. Don't come home telling me what coach said. If coach getting on, you get better type. That's how it used to be. And parents support that. So it made your job a whole lot easier. But nowadays, how has that changed with the parents as far as they're not drop off parents no more, A, and then B, the kids in some cases ain't working, don't have that work ethic. So now you got two different dynamics from what you're used to. So from y'all, what y'all used to and what you're dealing with now, how has that changed and how do y'all manage that? I see both of you crazy.
Man, it makes it so much harder, Corey, because now we've got to try to manage adult feelings into a situation. And watch this. They actually have legitimate points that they bring up that we don't have full-fledged answers to because we can't get totally into what we need to do. And then it would be said, now let's say for us here in Polk right now, that we don't have the connections in order to get kids to that next level, to get them into the D1s and especially Power 5 schools.
Is his parents telling you that? His parents telling him to behave that?
Those are things that are being said.
Behind your back, right? That's the stuff that's being said in a room that you got in, right?
But again, one of the main things is, as I stated earlier, Corey, when we had those kids, parents trusted and believed. And then a lot of things took care of themselves because we put them to work. You make these calls to this school, call this person. Okay, we can do that, and we still have those types of connections, but those are things that are being said about us. Another thing that's been said about us that's straight up, that's out there, is that we focus too much on defense. In that we don't develop children enough offensively, which we know is not true. But we do focus on defense because if you can't stop somebody, And if you're looking at NBA today, if kids and parents are not looking at NBA today, 85% of the players that are in the league now, the younger players, are two-way players. They're two-way players.
Well,
And if
all three of us, all of us, four of us feel about defense. So,
Coach Billy D. So, and I know, you've been real quiet. So I'm gonna toss you a slow ball, a slow lob, underhand. You get penalized for teaching basketball the right way. And I want to make sure I'm not saying other people are teaching it the wrong way. So let me make sure I preface that. But like you said, at some point you got to stop people. And I guess the knock on travel ball is that's you learn defense when you at your school. You don't learn it on the circuit. We just learn it just to get up shots. You all don't subscribe to that. You all looking at the whole kid, and this gonna help you be the best player you can be, not just get up shots. So, and we've heard that, Coach. We've talked about that before Coach Hayes got on here. That's something that has been out there, and it's a problem until you, like you say, you line up and you can't stop somebody. Then it's a y'all go ahead. I'm sorry, I just got it. But anyway, Coach, you jump in. I'm trying to jump on and I see the comment. So
I get it.
You got it.
Right. I mean, Corey, what people get blinded by us is that they always considered us like defensive coaches or whatever because our teams play so hard defensively. But we're basketball coaches. You know what I'm saying? Nobody wants to give us credit on how we help these kids develop offensively. Like the kids that you named, they wasn't just defensive players. You know what I'm saying? They were pretty skilled offensively, and we work on skill. We work on shooting. You know what I'm saying? We work on ball handling. You know what I'm saying? We work on all of that stuff. We were looking at the whole kid. Our philosophy is that when you send kids to us, they're going to be better when they come back to you at your high school team. If not, we did them an injustice. We're going to challenge them. We're going to make them compete. Nothing's given. It's always earned, And, I mean, we coach hard. We coach old school, and that's just the way we are. Coach Hayes is different now. He's not the same Coach Hayes that coached me back in the day and coach those guys that we named earlier. He's different now. He's actually done slide up a lot, but
Billy, listen, I'm glad you made that point because I get hit with that all the time dealing with my step team girls. They say you're not the same as you was when it's a different group of kids. These are babies. These are crybabies.
They say
it's not that we're
they're supposed to play. They think they're supposed to stay out there no matter how many mistakes that they make. It's just crazy, and it's difficult for me, and this was actually going to be my coach's corner. Like the old African proverb is, it takes a village to raise a child, but nowadays the village has a problem with you saying something to their child. It puts us in a really, really bad spot. You cannot wait till it's too late, and then now you want help in raising these young men and women. You know what I'm saying? If you want a village to help raise your child, it got to start early. It has to start early.
I don't think they want it. That's the problem. Like they don't want it because their expectations is your kids are already professional athletes, and their kid is already a Division I basketball player because somebody's put that in their ear. And now when a Coach A, a Billy D, you get on them. They expect it. You know what I'm saying?
Coach Hayes, if you had to guesstimate of how many kids you have gotten into school, what would that number be? If you had to throw a number out there.
I can't, and I won't fully. I'll just tell you this, just like with Corey, what Corey stated earlier. When we got to the point of team stat, by the time we got to the point of just team stat, going from team stat to each one teach one in a 9-year span, nine-year span, we sent 152 young men to school. And that still was not counting our Lake Wales kids and other kids from some of the other towns, especially Haines City, that we helped to go to school outside of basketball. So that was just in a 9-year span, and no other team on the circuits could match us. And they tried to ask, how are we able to send so many in such a short time? It's because we basically had 2 teams in each age group. You had a primary, everybody knew about each one teach one, right? But nobody paid attention to the blue. The blue was the rest of Polk County. But that we had the rest of Polk County kids together on the same team.
Which was a top 25 team.
Which was another top 25 team in the country.
Where did that
in
go?
the country?
Where did that go? Where did get all the Polk County kids on one? Because we get killed when we say it on this show. Where did getting all the Polk County kids on one team go?
That's the coaches.
Coach, you know, we were literally if we put all the kids, especially 24 right now. Not talking about 24 and 25 and 26. If we put all the 24 kids on one team, Coach, we'll be arguably winning every tournament that y'all line up, whoever coach them line up and go get on the road and go to.
We can beat anybody in the country. I put those kids against anybody in the country.
Anybody, Coach.
Anybody.
We biased, but we'll line it up, Coach. And I'm like, why was it so easy for y'all to do it and it's so hard now?
Because it's looked upon as though we don't have the same type of connections, or we can't infiltrate or have the same type of actions to come back here to the county once again. And you can't fault the parents for looking outside. But what I do fault everybody with, again, is our lack of togetherness. And also with the point of we're not nearly as tough and strong and as Polk County-ish as we used to be.
That is facts.
Yeah, and that's part of the problem, though. That was part of the problem when you guys moved over to the each one teach one, and you start getting those high major kids.
Yes.
When the Polk County kids were left out, they assumed it was because it wasn't fair to the Polk County kids, but we didn't have kids at that talent level.
Agreed. And the kids that were at that talent level, they played on those teams.
So that's the thing that we have to look at. Like now, and financially, are we starting too late? And with the development of the kids that we have now in Polk County, because most of these programs that we see with these kids that are playing locally, they're having to spend the money and it's costing thousands of dollars that those kids didn't have to spend because you had to support financially. Do we try to start earlier and get the right people behind the younger programs to feed in to build what the vision you have, Coach Billy D, the vision you have, Coach B Hayes? And then if we start early, it becomes a personal, they hating on our program because our program been going on so long, or this situation. But we got to start somewhere. Like example with the kids, those kids are playing at the Night Riders because we don't have those Night Rider type of programs locally. Do we try to build and start earlier and get some of the other high school coaches? Can we even get high school coaches to help coach those younger kids? I don't know. I'm asking those questions that by the time these kids get to high school, they're developed at a level that Polk can have that group and run around the country with that group.
Tuma, we are willing to work with anyone. Actually, we encourage it. If we could all sit down and figure out how can we showcase our kids better? How can we pool our resources and to make sure that we come together here in the county and showcase our kids? So I don't know if it's any misconceptions that we don't want to. That is not true. Definitely willing to sit down. Definitely willing to. Coach said something earlier about you know about being prepared, because my thing is we need to be above the curve instead of
Above,
behind it. And
behind.
here in Polk, we behind. We behind with facilities. We behind with resources.
Yes,
I
sir.
know of other people and other coaches. They know how to get grants. They know how to, pull resources like that. Like, why can't we come together and and do this? For the benefit of all our kids.
I only ask that because I think this year in middle school basketball, when you look at that 7th and 8th grade crew of kids, we have a legit 12 kids that can go from different schools, from the kid coming from Stanbar, the kid I had at Sleepy Hill, and I that Madden, them two was together. The kids that were at Boone, the kids that the fire kids that played at Rochelle and Lawton Child. Like you have those kids, but bringing that talent together, that's why I'm asking, do we start early and get a development program at a younger age that
We
we haven't
need to.
had?
We need to, and everybody don't have that vision. We have this conversation offline all the time, and we're losing kids that way. We're losing
That's
those kids that way.
my point. Like, the thing about those two kids that are on the Night Rockets team, how much better would it be to have that 8th grade and that 7th grade crew playing together for 2 years in the middle school level on a major Polk County on a team stat or each one teach one
Yeah,
Tony Bradley middle school team.
facts. And the thing is, Toomer, if those kids continue to grow and get better, they will never come back. We won't see those kids.
Exactly. They won't come back because they haven't
Why,
they
Coach?
have
I want.
I mean, they're already dealing with a shoe circuit team.
through
You know
circuit
what I'm
team.
saying?
And
At
they're
an
not spending
early age. You know what I'm saying? And that's their developmental programs and teams. And
and they're not
why would I come back?
Say again.
and they're not spending any money. That was
There's
one of the that was
watch
one of the
this. Some of them are spending money because all kids don't get treated equal, as you were saying earlier about some of the political process of those travel teams. If you're not one of the elite kids on that particular team, then you're gonna have to pay something. But here, I Big Tony asked me when little Tony, his last year, he was with us at Each One Teach One, and he just asked me a question. He said, if little Tony want to start a program, would you be willing to leave Each One Teach One to come back to help start the program? I told him I'd leave in a heartbeat. I leave Each One Teach One. It was my quote unquote, if I'm egotistical, that was my program, Tuma. We're one of Nike's top 3 programs. We're one of Nike's top 3 programs for the last 10 years. But yet I was willing to leave to come back and help start and make something happen with our kids in the counties and not let it get too big for the county kids again. Only reach out if we have a need, because I look down the line. God gave me that in my spirit to look down the line to see that we have talent coming up over the course of the next 5 years, even now. And if we do that, and understand, I want to say this first during the discourse. I want to be like Stephen A. I guess the parents that are for those young men who are able to play out there on those shoe circuit teams, because if you're under 16 and under, you're not really playing on the shoe circuit. Even if you're 15 and under, even if you're pretty good, you're not shoe circuit. You're not really getting looked at. Okay, only 16 and up. Okay, but even like you were saying earlier, Corey, the 2024 class. If we could have kept this class together, and we never had LJ, but if we could have had LJ, Isaac, JP, and if Nemo would have come in with us, if we have all those kids together this year, you're one of the best 17 and under teams in the country. We just played the Atlanta Express in the other team out of Atlanta, which I thought the Express was thus far the best shoot circuit team that I've seen thus far this year. If somebody is better than them at 17 and under, if somebody is better than them, then I can stand corrected. But like I say, you can't fault those parents for trying to put their kids in the best situation. But I know had we been able to keep them together, as we stated from jump, then now you're getting that press, and now you're getting that opportunity. They would have been able to be just like Capers. They would have been like with Dominique, Jarrell Blocker, Kevin, Miguel, Idell Bell. They would have been like them, and they would have had the opportunity to kick the door in of a shoe company or shoe label team to be on their circuit. I just fully believe that. But you can't fault anyone for the directions that they went or chose.
Well,
Any of those kids on shoe circuit?
No.
None of them.
I think JP is still with the Rebels. The other ones are on independent circuit.
So looking at Ryan Kilpatrick comment, Coach, everybody, he's saying, I guess that's the difference between travel teams is what separates Palm Beach, Broward, and Dade. And Coach Hayes, you're saying that, parents got to do what they feel is best for their child, and we respect that. We're not disrespecting parents in that respect. But are we going to always be facing an uphill battle because we can't offer what Palm Beach, Broward, and Dade can offer as far as resources, money, that kind of stuff? Because that's what, I guess that's the thing that folks say, we don't have the resources. That's the knock on Polk County. And so are we ever going to do that? Are we ever going to even it up? Because what's going to happen to change that,
They got the facilities.
No.
That's what I'm saying. So with that train of thought, are we ever going to catch up, and are we ever going to get those kids all on the same team if, like you saying, Coach Hayes and Coach Billy D, because y'all in it, they see what they think the grass is greener elsewhere until, like you say, later on they come back and need you. It's not a village, Coach Billy D, until I need you, and you find out that them shoe circuit teams and them people could care less about you. We care about you, but you can't see that we care about you until you done got used and abused or whatever the case may be, and now you want to come back home, and we're supposed to just have open arms for you because we love you and we care about you, but we try to tell you we care about you before you went off with these people. So does it ever work out for us travel ball wise with that reality? I guess that's the question.
I don't think it will, Coach. We're in a day and age, as you said, like people have their own set agendas. They're not willing to wait the process out. They need it right now. So I guess the plea would be to start at the middle school and just try to keep a core of kids together and see if we can, ride them out like we did with that first group. Like that first group, each one teach one had some really good teams. And I tell Coach Hayes this all the time, that first group that we had, I'd take them over anybody. Out of all them, each one teach one team. I'd take them over anybody.
Yes,
bro. That Lake Wells and that Kathleen crew was so tough. And then you add in Capers, on Larry. We were so tough.
Tyler Arbuckle.
Yes.
But you talking about a whole different breed of kids too, Billy. You talking about some kids that teaching defense that was the number one. That's the mindset, and that's why they had that toughness, that grown man in all of them, because they were what Polk County basketball was about at that time.
Facts, but nobody looks at how we encourage and help those kids develop, offensively. You know what I'm saying? Like those kids could score too from all three levels.
Me and Barnes talk about it all the time, just on the Miguel Paul situation. Like a lot of people was like, how could he get to the school he was at, playing at Kathleen, averaging 12, 13 points, compared to what you guys did and how he played on the circuit? And I always just, I'm sitting on the bench and I'm watching this kid.
Bro,
he has to play defense.
Because I used to be like, how is it too? Like, bro, he getting off on the road. He getting people 30 the game. I'm like, okay, well,
y'all talking about those kids, bro. Dominique Davis could have went Power 5 in either sport.
In either sport, basketball or football.
Sport. Dominique Davis was so tough. Like, bro, everybody talk about all those other kids, but Dominique Davis was just as good as everybody on that team. You know what I'm saying? And then, like, people don't know about Brandon Robinson. Bro, he was struggling to get time, but when he got out there, he was able to do his thing.
He was a 12th man. Brandon Robinson was the 12th man.
Now you're all-star overseas.
Exactly.
Crazy.
Well,
Dominique is, to your point, Coach Billy D. Dominique would be considered a late bloomer because when he first started playing basketball, you didn't see what he ended up becoming. Even with football, he didn't start off playing the position he ended up playing. So that's to your point about the development too. But like you said, Coach, and you like, why do we got to put our resume up? But it's almost like when people, I know y'all kind of smirk and laugh with each other when people say y'all just defense. When y'all hold on, like your resume, you don't want to give people your resume. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you got to give people your resume. Like, look, bro, look at what these guys was doing with us now on the circuit. Where does this misconception that all we do is teach defense come from? It's just like, I know it get frustrating. I know it get frustrating for y'all to hear it all the time because y'all know. And Coach, you be on here every now and then, and you'll get it. You'll get out of character. You stay in character, but every now and then you'll jump out and you'll pull yourself back. But I know it's frustrating when you know it's not accurate. A and B when you got receipts to show it's not accurate.
You can't put me in a box. I'm a basketball coach. I'm not just a defensive coach. It's just what y'all glorified us as because our teams played so hard. But we developed kids offensively too.
Hey, Miguel didn't know what a red light was playing with Team Stat.
That's right. That's right.
He didn't know what a red light was. Green light.
Yeah.
Coach, I want to
take him out. He wouldn't shoot it.
Coach, while we on here, Coach Hayes, you talked about this about the kid. How many kids y'all have sent to school, which is that should be the only thing you got to say when you're talking to a kid parent. We done sent over 100 something kids in 9 years. We sent more kids to school than anybody around. That should be the end of the conversation. It's crazy that you got to say more than that. But I got this clip sent to me probably a week or so ago from AB, from Aubrey Bell, OG, help raise me, whatever. And it was from a college coach. He probably said it to you too, y'all too, but I told him we was going to talk about it next time we got on the show. It was this college coach that was saying he was trying to give free game to some of these upcoming kids that's on the way to college, going on these visits. He was passionate about it. He was like, these kids are killing themselves before they even get started by how they showing up on these visits. He like, you got to look at this like a job interview. Like these kids showing up in do-rags, hooded sweatshirts, slides on, got the hoods on the whole time. And these people bring you in trying to invest in you. You essentially are you're an investment. And that's how you showing up to essentially, he said like a job interview. You showing up to a job interview. Who going to hire you, show up in a job interview with a hood on, with a do-rag on, head down, not making eye contact, not shaking hands, slides on. He like, these kids are killing themselves before they even get started.
Coach, they got GAs watching it on social media. I had a coach come to me, one of my kids actually, Like, coach, we no longer recruiting this kid. Matter of fact, we're gonna pull the scholarship offer because of him saying the N word on his social media. You know what I'm saying? And like, we don't want that type of person in our program. And it's a Power 5 school. There was a Big 12 school, and they pulled a scholarship from this kid. You know what I'm saying? That not only are they watching your social media, they're watching your parents' social media. Had a coach just tell me last weekend, bro, we're not recruiting this kid because of his parent. You don't want to deal with the parent. So, parents can kill these kids' chances also.
But who? How do we? Because that's what we try to do, and I know you guys are doing it in your program. But how do we make sure that at least we do it? We always want to say we're doing our part. At least put it out there. Now, what you do with it is on you. But I mean, this is a college coach, and I post a clip on the page now that we done talked about it. I post it on the page so people think I'm capping or whatever. But this guy saying he's shaking his head like, dude, you killing yourself. Like these kids showing up like that. And once they get on campus, you can't say nothing to them. Once they on the visit, you can't say, bro, you dead wrong. Like you moving. You gotta do it. You gotta change how you doing this because you already there. Coach already eyeballed you. Coach already kind of made up his mind off that first impression. And to our point with the portal now, is anybody, if you're not top 20, top 50, maybe top 100, nobody is safe. You're not that safe where the portal is concerned coming out of high school that you can't assume that just because you walk on campus that everybody going to be dropping from you, they're going to be hanging from you and just, it ain't like it used to be like y'all saying with this portal, man, I'd be done with you before Friday night, before you even go hang out with the team or whatever. So I just want to get y'all thoughts on that clip. I thought it was real interesting of what he was saying. Coach Hayes.
That's it in itself, Corey, because again, I guess I hate to use, I'm not going to use him, the John Morant situation, but all it is that we kids now have a little too much say so. Let's shake. I was reading.
Like
Shake. Right.
Oh, you read what Coach Shake said, yeah. Coach
Shake
is very passionate about this subject, as you can tell. So we want to make sure we give him all his time to tap in. Go ahead.
And that was a good group. Again, that was another good group. I mean, where again, the size of what Corey was saying earlier, we had the size. People were calling in. People were calling in from other states that connected to Florida that wanted us to take their players, and that's what occurred again. But where it is with the kids not owning up to the responsibility, and I think that was something Toomer was saying early on, that that what we were doing with people now, kids and expectations from home, expectations from parents, expectations of kids, and everybody believing that they're that next, they're the next John Morant, they're the next Zion Williamson, they're the next one by or what's the kid name, the 7'5" kid. Everybody believes that they're that next kid and that they deserve to be in that same conversation with those kids when they haven't put in that same type of work, and now we get misconstrued and bent out of shape the wrong way.
I don't know. It's just so many moving parts to it. So many moving parts. But
the church you just helped.
Coach in transition.
Come here, Michael.
I don't know.
Oh, okay. That's fine.
We're gonna mute Coach while he doing whatever he doing. Lost the travel ball connection. So I don't know. You got anything else, PG, for Coach?
No, I don't.
I don't know if Billy D's still on or whatever, but Once he sits somewhere else, I put his mic back on. No, we ain't want to hear all that extra. But yeah, bro. So I mean, I just thought that was an interesting take because that's how kids dress nowadays. Kids don't put on a polo or some khakis or even some jeans and some tennis shoes. Them kids, that hooded sweatshirt is their uniform. Them slides, them crops, whatever you call them.
With the slides, come on, man.
That's what their uniform, coach. It's like, so how do you? That's not how the kids.
We got to set the culture, and that's another thing about us. And that's our program is not for everybody, because you're not going to dictate the culture to us. If when we get the resources and we have things that we need, you're going to get a travel uniform. You're going to have a travel things that we expect from you. And then you have to do those things. If you don't want to do those things, then maybe the next program is looking for that. Because all we want is for everybody to understand who they are together. And you're better together than you are individually. And I know we don't have a one and done kid coming out of Polk County right now. We don't have that. You know, and you have a history of that, but you don't have that right now. Everybody's got to work because you have some portion of your game that you need to improve upon, and you still have to continue to improve upon your defense and your conception of the game, the GAME of basketball. Our kids, for the most part, are very nil in understanding of the game of basketball. But I'm just telling you, I'm right now we don't have high IQ. Man, you look Isaac is a good player, but even I have to say JP's IQ of the game is higher. JP may not be the athlete of a lot of other kids, but his basketball acumen is so elite. It puts him on that level. But I'm telling you, the majority of the other kids in our county right now, our basketball acumen is very low. It's not there. It's frustrating. It's choking. It's annihilating. And then you come with expectations. You come with a request. Are you serious? And you want coaches to automatically be recruiting you?
Those words are from Bernie Hayes. Those words do not reflect. Well, kind of do. But I'm about to do a disclaimer, Coach, but no, we right there with you, man. So hey, when you said maybe they'll listen to you, Coach, and I know Coach Billy D smiling because he had to stay political with it, but when they come to y'all and they got these, they got these dreams, they got these Hollywood dreams, and they coming in with a Fifth Street. Well, let me be quiet. But like you say, Coach, they come to you and they don't have it, and then they mad at you for how you trying to help them to get it because they think that they do have it. And it's like, where does that come from? Home, the kid, the program they coming to y'all from? Where's the disconnect? Because we gotta see. Go ahead, my bad, bro. Go ahead.
I think the talent level coming up is there, but it's not being coached the correct way. And I think we got to start at that younger age, you know what I'm saying? Especially with the elite players, and take them and build something with them.
So which player would you rather have?
If they're not as good, you can't compete on the level. And that's come to the same problem you had from the start about college. kids just have it. I don't know. I don't personally think. I think you only can. I think you can. I don't think you can teach it. Teach it. I think you can educate it like anything else. Like I mean, like when I say that, like kids don't watch real basketball anymore. So one of the blessings that I think I was learned the game from is watching the game at college basketball level and not the NBA level. I think these kids now don't watch college basketball at all. So you learn things from college basketball because the game is built off of it's not necessarily built off of one-on-one. You learn a lot of different things at college basketball, and it used to be fun. Now I don't watch it no more, but to me it was fun. NBA is so terrible in the regular season that I would not dare watch an NBA game. But college used to be, it was fun to watch. You know what I'm saying? When you had a UNLV Arkansas game where you got the full court press and you got the So you watch those games. Like me and Sears, we would watch the North Carolina versus the Iverson, but we wouldn't watch the game one time. We would record the game and we would watch the game 10 to 15 times. The Duke Carolina, we would watch those games over and over and over. And then once we in practice, or once you're practicing or playing the game, some of those things become natural because you're so focused on seeing what other people are doing and how those things are being taught that it becomes something to do. And then your coach is educating you on the V cut, the pick and roll, the spacing, the jump to the ball. So you're hearing it, you're seeing it, and you're doing it. So when you're doing it wrong, you got not only ways to go back and watch it outside of what you've been coached at. I don't think they're getting that anymore on those levels because they're not watching it.
Also, though, are enough coaches correcting it? You know what I'm saying? When it happens, you know what I'm saying? Are you correcting only certain players and not correcting all players? Are you playing situational basketball within your practices? Because my thing is, if you continue to let them make the mistake over and over again, guess what they're going to do? They're going to continue to make this mistake. Prime example, right? We in the state championship game, you're up, and we're speeding up ourselves on offense and taking shots that we shouldn't be taking in those particular situations. And we're telling you that on the sideline. We have told you that in practice. But they get in those situations, just because I'm open, or somebody screaming in the stand, shoot it, not understanding that the clock is on our side. And it happened on the boys and the girls side.
I definitely don't think Polk County, the percentage of coaches in Polk County that are being disciplined on teaching and reteaching and reteaching in a practice of a 3-hour practice is happening. So if you're saying it's a defensive day of practice where you know you got to spend 2 hours of the 3 hours on defense, I think their frustration jumps the gun, or they just don't teach every kid what is right and what is wrong about what they're doing. There's no more. It's a percentage.
But then you can't get mad at them when they're making the mistakes in the game, and that's when it shows up in the game. If you don't correct it in practice, if you don't correct it when it actually happens in the game, those kids continue to make those mistakes.
Listen, even with Coach B, when I started coaching with him, and to see a 2.5 hour practice, we driving Lake Wells, and we're working on stuff that you would be amazed, and we wouldn't stop working on it. And this is AAU, and I'm talking about the shell drill, the full court shell drill, down to the half court, and it's like, okay, when we go into offense, they got to learn this. They got to learn this for the first 2 hours. Then we'll go to offense on the last hour. You're like, okay. Even when I jumped away from them and coached with the Fire, it was a whole new teaching point for me because the kids are like, "We finna do what?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, we ain't just picking up no basketball and just playing. You're gonna have to learn how to play defense. And when you're wrong, I gotta reteach." I don't think that happens. I don't see it, bro. You can watch games, and that's frustrating.
And our philosophy is we spend a lot of time on it early. Once we get that down, then we can move on and focus on those other aspects of the game. But usually those are the harder teaching points. So that's why you got to spend a lot of time on it early.
Yeah, that ain't happening, Billy D. So yeah, I'm agreeing with you on that. That's not the case.
And I remember Coach Jones said in high school one time at Kathleen, he said it takes a whole year almost to teach man-to-man defense.
Yes, Lord.
The way it's supposed to be taught. So
Yes,
just
sir.
imagine if they ain't getting it taught before they get to y'all, and y'all they walking in the door with y'all, and y'all talking the language and have an expectation, and they don't have it because they didn't get it at all before they got to y'all. Like you say, what we supposed to do? I mean, we can't even get to offense because if we don't stop people, it don't matter. And
It doesn't matter.
it don't matter. So you fighting a losing battle at that point. If they don't, they got to come to you with something. They can't come to you with wet clay. They got to come to you. They got to been in the kiln a little bit for a couple minutes, and then we'll take it the rest of the way. But y'all asking us to make chicken salad out of.
And you know what made Coach Given? You know what made Coach Given such a legendary coach?
That's right.
He was spending the 3 hours on the defensive practice.
That's right.
And
That's right.
if you were gonna work on that defense, like it wasn't no ifs, ands, or buts about it. If you were the second unit, you gonna spend them 3 hours working on that defense and understanding.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
The offense will come another day, but you're gonna learn how to play defense. It's no different, Barnes, with what we say about our girls on how precise they are. We're putting in 2 hours on drills on just that. You know what I'm saying? So I just see coaches ignoring that because number one, they're ignoring it for the fact that kids run away from that. And then the kids that are coming in that they're transferring in, that they think are good players, they feel the need to babysit them on what their parents expect they're going to get their kids to the next level. So hell, I ain't going to coach defense no more. I'm going to let this kid just play how he wants to offense, and we're going to win games. And then you're losing those big games that Billy D's saying because the kids ain't been taught nothing. And we've seen it. Last 2 years.
You're going to have to guard somebody at some point.
It's going to come down to it. I mean, if you want to, in that guarding, and you take that time to understand this, we always asking kids, why would a school come and recruit you over this, that, or the other kid? What separates you? Sometimes you don't have to say a word. Joe Barry had a distinguished career in the college ranks, correct? Played at North Carolina. He played at Lake Highlands, All State. Played at North Carolina. Russell Wilson didn't even get an invite from the other coaches to try out for each one, teach one. I had to take him myself and tell them that this kid is worthy. They didn't believe me. And I would get even, I can go in even greater detail about Doug Brooks. But the day that I took Russell Wilson to each one, teach one, practice, tryout, whatever, it was actually a practice because of all the kids that were coming back. And then so Russell got the chance to come in there. And I told him, I'm going to put Russell on Joel. And Big Joel, his dad was there. And I told him, don't get mad with me now, but this is my little guard from Lake Wales. And I'm trying to tell you, they had Joe Barry, sent baby out there raw. We went 99 feet because that's baby. He'll guard him out of bounds. And Joe Barry could not get the ball past. We talking half court? No. Joe Barry couldn't get the ball past the free throw line. Baby was locking him up like that.
Toma and Bond, I was there.
Joe Barry's dad was jumping out of his skin because he could not believe it. Who is this little guy? I love him.
He tried to fight him.
He was gonna be mad. Everybody thought Big Joe was gonna be mad. Now you bring in this kid and he's showing up my son, my perennials. He said, no, this is great because now that helps him to be better.
Little Joe wanted to fight him. That's how
Yes.
mad he was.
And he stopped trying to bring the ball up the court and told somebody else to bring the ball up the court. Joe Barry, he could not get past half court on Russell Wilson. But people say we work too much on defense. And I'm telling you, Russell Wilson was not as fast as people thought he was, or as he made himself.
Because he was fast. Well, okay. I guess y'all know better than we do. He looked real fast with what we were seeing.
But I tell you this, Coach, about that particular story, Russell Wilson made Joe Barry an elite defender.
He did.
He said in Carolina probably there, huh?
They played together that particular summer on Each One Teach One, and Joe Barry became an elite defender.
He became an elite defender.
You got to face that every day. You can't do nothing but be elite.
Yeah.
Right.
After I got done fighting you, I'm just, hey, like you said, but that shows something about the Barry kid that he didn't run. What we just said, he didn't run.
He didn't run from it.
First of all, his daddy let him run from it, and then he didn't run from it, and he got so much better because he didn't. That don't happen nowadays, though, Coach. That don't happen. Kids will run from that.
But he wanted to go to a higher level, and that helped propel him to go there.
He wanted to be better.
And then he made other people do the same thing, especially the next year.
That's great. That's a great story. That's a great story.
Wow.
Well, Coach,
Doug, watch this. Brooks wasn't even allowed to try. He wasn't even allowed to try out that year. He was not even allowed to try out.
What you mean? When you say wasn't allowed to try out?
In the program, and I ran the program, but they did not believe in him. They did not trust him. They say that he is nothing. He can't give or bring us anything. And even the next year, it took Corey. It took Corey. What's the name from Hoop Source? Corey Rollins. It took Corey Rollins to show the write-up and do the write-up on Doug after Doug showed up down at the City of Palm for him to even get a tryout, because I couldn't convince him at first, even though I told him he gonna come and he gonna work out this year with us. But we were already trying to size up the team. And it took Doug Brooks to do the same thing in that kind of year. And then he had to come to practice and do that same thing where he had to run the whole court. He played the whole court. He played all 92 feet. He played the whole court, 94. He in order to play on that team. And they'll tell you, we were down to the Arkansas team from Arkansas,
Wings.
and the EIBL, Arkansas Wings. We were down 11 points, and there were 3 minutes left. And in the next a minute and 36 seconds, Doug Brooks accounted for 16 points. In the next minute, 36 seconds, he accounted for 16 points. On the ball.
It's different. It's different.
Because you focus. But most of all, I'm still going back to this, Corey. Kids who love the game. I'm going back to that. The L, the O, the V, the E. The love of the game.
So you think these kids saying they love it, but they really don't?
Most of them.
That's
Most
fair.
of them.
That's fair. That's fair.
Most of them.
You love it until you find out what it takes to do what you're saying you want to do. Then it's like, hold on, that's a little too much. But Coach, one more thing before we let you off, I want to get your take on this rule change. I got this from the other GOAT that we cool with, Coach McGriff. There's a rule change coming up this year, and Coach Billy, I know you already know about free throws.
Yes, sir.
They changing the free throw rule. PJ, you may not have saw this yet, but you know how in years past it's been 7 fouls, 1-and-1, 10 fouls, double bonus. Well, they changing it this year where it's 5 fouls each quarter, and after 5 fouls, they eliminate the 1-and-1. It's double bonus, all common fouls, kind of like the NBA. And at the end of the quarter, the fouls, the team fouls start over again. So now it's not the half, it's the quarter. So 5 free throws, and you want. Man, I thought.
Oh goodness!
I had high hopes, man. We was gonna get done. I had high hopes we was gonna get off, man. But anyway, man, let me get back in character. So, new rule change. How do you all? Are they doing that rule change right now in travel ball? And how do you all see that playing out in the regular season?
No, they're not doing it in travel ball. I will say that. They have been doing it in some states. I know they have in Georgia. When we go to Georgia, we know that they're playing that way, even with the shot clock. So some states have already transitioned to it, but now they have made it national. And their thinking is that it's going to speed up the game some because you're, possibly shooting less free throws, but we didn't see a major change as far as that goes. So I don't see it being a major change.
Okay. But
I do. I see that in major games, that's gonna make major changes because now you're gonna have to learn how to play defense without fouling. Or otherwise you're gonna put somebody in a double shot bonus with more than 4 minutes to go in the quarter, and everything that they shoot is worth a minimum 2 points.
Agreed, but hey, it's not like it's combined fouls but from the previous quarter.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's sometimes it may take a while to get there, but if it's a physical game where refs are very involved, then yeah, I can see that.
Yes, and they watch. I hate to say, Florida refs, they referee on emotion. They referee on emotion because they got to be king of the court.
Polk County refs.
Polk County and beyond, the whole fripping state, because they always on show for somebody else rather than going out there managing the game.
That's the thing, Coach. Like Marlon, he may be being honest, he may be playing, I don't know, but you could foresee in a Polk County game, you could be there for a while, Coach, with this new rule, because you're gonna be shooting free throws. You're gonna be shooting if 5 is double bonus essentially.
There were a number of Polk County games this past year with 48 and 50 plus fouls being called. That's a shame. That's a shame. That's just a shame.
Imagine that.
That's a shame.
Coach, I know Coach Billy D gotta walk a fine line because he wear those stripes every now and then. Yeah, you see how he started doing this? PJ, he started playing with his beard and everything.
Yeah.
Doing that, well, I don't really want to say that thing. I got you, Coach. I got you.
Yeah, you got your nephew a referee on. You took it too far.
Yeah, man. Hey, Coach Billy, Coach
I got to be like next week.
Family get it all, man. Yeah, I just think Coach Callahan, we gonna be. Well, I hope not. I hope they don't. They just let the kids go play. But
like Coach O just said, it should take longer for them to get there because of the fouls resetting. But you just never know.
And in some games, Corey, you're gonna get a bad quality of game. You're gonna dictate, and you're gonna allow one team to be stronger than the other team, because if a coach is smart, if we still play by the same coaching by the same philosophy, which a lot of philosophies are gonna have to change, because when a player pick up 2 fouls in the half, when you gonna put him back in? And so the other team may be stronger longer than your team. It's gonna change some strategies. There's gonna be some strategies changed in the game.
That's definitely going. Like you said, definitely going to change how people coach, because now you got to guard, you got to do some other stuff, and we all on this show subscribe to the 2 fouls you sit rule, but everybody don't subscribe to that, coach. Everybody don't believe in that 2 foul sit rule. It's amazing to me when I watch some games like, hey, you don't know he got 2. Then when he get 3 fouls, you throw in the clipboard or you throw in your hat. How you throw in your hat? If you had 2, you left him out there, and you got him guarding the other team best kid. What you think about that? You ain't go zone. You ain't take him off the kid. Like what you know how this story's gonna end before it happens. So anyway, that's a soapbox. That get coach on his coaching corner. Coach get on here, Coach Coach Burnham. If you want to get Coach Billy D upset, start talking strategy with coaches. Oh man, he lose it, man. So we don't want him to lose, Coach, he's a strategy guy, so he hates when other people ain't using no strategy. That drives him crazy. So
that sounds like my nephew.
Hey, you know it better than all of us, man. So, but I just wanted to kind of hit on a couple of them things, Coach. And the last thing we're gonna talk about, I mean, you can stay on here because you family. We just gonna kind of not go over all of it, but summarize the summer league that's coming up this year. I want to say shout out to the commissioner, Terrence McGrill, and go over at Bartow. I don't know if it's a record, but we got 24 teams that's going to be in the summer league this year. We got multiple locations going on. We got teams coming from Osceola County. We got teams from Hillsborough County. And we got teams from Polk County. So great job of putting together the tournament. It's going to start, not tournament, but the summer league. It's going to start June 5th. So you got games on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday that first week. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday that second week. I mean, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday the first week. Then 30 teams. You must have got a different schedule, Coach Shake, because the schedule he sent me that I posted is at 24 on that stuff. But it's going to be a very competitive field. They're going to be using the field house, Florida Southern, Auburndale Rec, and then what I thought was nice this year is going to be games played at some of the high schools also. Decided to use the Max Preps ranking system to kind of seed the teams and put them in their different groups. So what I'm just gonna do, like I said, we're not gonna go over all of it because a time, but I just want to go over the teams. We can do the teams, okay? And let's see if we can keep PG on the screen or not. So in Pool A, we got Winter Haven, Osceola, Lake Region, Ridge, and Kathleen. In Pool B, we got Victory, Auburndale, Davenport, Jenkins, and Tampa Bay Tech. Pool C, we got Lakeland, Bartow, Sebring, Discovery, Lake Gibson. Pool D, we got Santa Fe, Tampa Wharton, McKeel, Lake Wells, Mulberry. And Pool E, we have Haines City, Frostproof, Avon Park, Oasis, Ridgeview Global. Oh, I guess that's why you're saying more than that. Then we got Excel, Lakeland Christian, and Fort Meade. So I see what you're talking about. So so they're playing games at Advent Fieldhouse on Mondays, at Florida Southern on Tuesdays, at Auburndale Rec on Wednesdays, and then on a couple of games on Thursday, they got like Winter Haven, Mulberry, Ridge, Lakeland. Then some weeks we got Kathleen. So good little mix of teams and locations. So right off the top, what you all think on the summer league this year?
Man, Pool E, I'm turning the screen off or going home. I'm not staying for that. I'm sorry.
Who is Pool E? Pool E?
I'm gonna get it to you. I'm gonna get it to you. See if I can get through it. Haines City, Frostproof, Avon Park, Oasis, Ridgeview Global.
Yeah, I heard. So are they part of the they get to compete for the championship?
The first 5 do.
So Pool E doesn't get to compete for the championship.
No, the first 5 in Pool E do.
Yeah. Okay. So each pool.
Yeah, each pool is it.
Gotcha. I'm only asking like it's 5 pools. I'm like, okay. Billy said he had to sleep on to turn the screen off on Pool E.
Because how they playing, they gonna play within the pool, so you're gonna be playing games against each other in that pool. And then when the playoffs get seeded, then you kind of go to other people.
Oh, so like Pool A don't play against no teams in Pool B during the 4 weeks, 3 weeks.
Not the first couple games they play who in their pool, yeah.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't want to watch Pool E either. Why would Bill did that?
I mean, I think he did it to keep, those teams from getting them 40 point.
Yeah, he trying to
be competitive amongst them.
Trying to help pay for the referee.
We try not to have the sausage so much. I know it's summertime and people be grilling and people grill. But we trying to cut down on the amount of Jimmy Dean packages we open up over the summer.
Okay, let me ask you this question because if a kid is in that Pool E, right, and they averaging like 16 points a game, and then they get in the playoffs, and then they put up 2 points. Russell Wilson from last night put up D'Angelo Russell, and then we're doing rankings. Are we looking at Pool E for a competition?
Well, every kid. Let me be PC for PolkHoops. Every kid. Try to keep both of y'all. Every kid has the ability to be ranked, and we're doing the rank.
Exactly. You beat me to it, Billy. I'm trying to figure that part out. No kids get in the rankings, it's gonna be like somebody's gonna say something, but competitive wise, they're not playing against anybody that. So like a Pool E kid, if we're looking at top 20 players, if you're looking at all state players, are you gonna look at Pool E into the playoffs?
But we'll also take in consideration if they're going to like team camps and all the other stuff. But
yeah, we're gonna have to do something that's different. That's what I'm saying. I'm trying to make it fair for those kids because we're gonna get killed if they're not any pool. If we're talking about rankings. PolkHoops was saying we're gonna rank the top 20 players. Pool E, they're not competing against the other players. So it's like a FAMU kid. Do you invite the FAMU kid to camp, or do you invite the Duke kid to the camp? To the combine.
So kid at FAMU, does that mean he can't play?
No, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So if the kid is summer league killing it,
how do we evaluate a pool kid if we don't?
So we got to decide how much we putting on level of competition. Is what you saying?
Yeah, I'm looking at I'm trying to get an understanding on air of how we gonna look at those kids. We said top 20 kids, and then you're gonna get those calls and those emails and those messages about, oh, this kid averaged 27 points a game in the summer in Pool E, and he didn't get a chance to be in the top 20. How do we evaluate that? Do we wait till the playoffs?
We're gonna have to, but then again, we're not gonna do it till the end of the summer anyway. So, like I said, not only are we looking at summer league, we'll see what they're doing.
We're doing it at the end of the summer, bro.
But I mean, I get it, and so, but we said that we're gonna look at summer league. That's gonna kind of determine who we try to pick to play in the Cause you talking about who gonna play in the showcase at the alumni tournament. Yeah. So I mean. That's a good question. I guess strength of schedule.
only playing. They're not playing the Lakeland, the Bartlett. They're not playing those schools. And then you miss a kid. You miss a Jordan Toomer who played at Bartow, who averaged 9 points, but looked great. And it's number 20. You got the Jordan Toomer that put up 9 points a game in some league, and then you got the Michael Washington that averaged 28 a game in Pool E. And we know if those two kids came into play in the playoff game, and Washington kid only had 2 points, and then Toomer kid had 15, and we got this one last pick, are you going to evaluate that kid playing in all that Pool E, which is screen cutoff, compared to the kid that was in competition against all these other schools?
That makes sense. What you think, Coach Burton? That makes sense. What's your take?
Because to me, it seems like these
I'm not going to be political in that situation. You know a player when you see one. If you don't see one, and I don't care how many points he's putting up, if he's really not that's a false advertisement. So you'll be able to rightly evaluate.
Yeah, I know we will, but we're gonna get killed for it, Coach. If that kid can't compete.
Come on, Tommy. You all like we haven't been get killed for something else before. We'll be all right.
I know we're gonna be all right, but it's better to put it out in the open. You already said you're gonna cut the screen off. You beat me to it. So if you're cutting the screen off, you're not even looking at those kids. Because the team, it's like, to me, that's like a requested group. Hey, we're gonna be in this league. Put us in the league with all the teams that we probably can play against. Compared to, I don't want to play Lakeland and Bartow in the summer league. If that's the case, then I'm not gonna be in the summer league.
That's a good point. That's a fair point. That strength of schedule does have to. We will factor strength of schedule into it. But like Coach Burton say, if a kid can go, it should be obvious whether he at Haines City or Frostproof. But strength of schedule will have a big impact on it. Yes, sir. That's a good question. That's a good question to ask live so people can hear us talk about it. If folks know that everything is live, it's nothing prepared. So all this stuff is we just hearing it the first time. So
Pool E, like even when you were saying it, you came back and said, "I'm like, okay, I agree with Billy D. I'm not gonna go to watch that game." I'm trying to figure out why they wasn't playing outside their pool. Pool E should have been the crew that play all the other teams. Ross is in the summer.
I got a question though, Corey Barnes.
Yes, sir.
I guess I should be asking McGriff though, huh? If Lake Wells is in the summer league, who coaching them?
You.
That's a great question, but they definitely name is on the list, Coach. That's a great question.
From my understanding, is supposedly the coach that coached JV is gonna have all duties right now until they name a coach.
They're not gonna name a coach before the summer. All right.
But from my understanding, they far away right now.
They're not gonna have a summer league coach to get used to the kids.
Who y'all had?
By the time the kid get there, by the time the coach get there, he gonna know everybody who's supposed to be there gonna be gone now.
And the kids are talking about leaving right now.
You know what I'm saying? It's gonna be these kids nowadays. You ain't have no coach. All right, we'll holler at you. So they said that coach, whoever that coach gonna be, that's not gonna be a good recipe. A and B, who gonna want to come coach when all the kids gonna be gone by the time you get there? That's a tough.
I think the Lake Wells guy will want to coach because they know they can get the kids back. It got to be a Lake Wells guy at this point here.
That's the last thing they want right now.
If you're not keeping it in the spirit, that's an epic fail for them. That's an epic fail for them.
You said that's the last thing they want, coach?
That's what I said.
Oh,
where a football coach from?
Lake Wells, right? Lake Wells, right? He was you, coach. He graduated you, right, coach?
Yeah, that's my classmate. The baseball coach from Lake Wells, the softball coach from Lake Wells.
So every other sport want a Lake Wells person except boys basketball. Wow. I know y'all both Lake Wells guys, so y'all got to kind of keep it PG. So me and PG is I don't get the logic of that one. I don't get the logic of that one.
I know the answer, but it only makes sense like to put it out there on air. Like how you not want a Lake Wells guy to coach Lake Wells?
What they
Because
want,
if that was the case, if they wanted that, then they would have already hired that. But they shunned away from that from the beginning of their quote unquote process, which the process I'm not ashamed to say it, Corey. The process was already tainted from the beginning. Who they wanted to have the job, they had already given the job to before the job ever opened up. Before the last coach was even let go fully, that job was already promised.
Wow.
But it's atypical. I know this is not the NFL and you don't have the Rooney Rule, but it should have at least have a Rooney Rule. But that's exactly where it's at, and that's where you stand.
But Lake Wells is synonymous. No disrespect to we ain't talking, but let's just keep it a buck. Lake Wells is synonymous for the quote unquote Rooney Rule. That's Lake Wells. I can say it, but y'all can't say it. That's what Lake Wells is. Like, and once again, ain't no disrespect to nobody else, but facts is just facts. That's when you think Lake Wells, that's what you think. That's what you are used to. That's from Coach Bernie to Coach Billy D to that's just what you think. Even when Coach Jones was there, it was still very obvious that the Rooney Rule was live and well. And to his point, to Coach Jones' point, he didn't try to he embraced it, which helped him, in my opinion, had the success he had because he didn't try to close the door. He like, no, y'all come on in. I don't get that one at all. I don't get that one at all. That's a head scratch. That's a head scratch. Coach, that's gonna set the program never gonna recover from that. Like Lake Wells has some very talented young kids right now that they not gonna have by the time whoever they hire gets there because them young kids gonna leave. Them young kids, these jitterbugs here, they not gonna sit around and wait to try to figure out, y'all just be patient. No, these kids, patience is not even something that they in their vocabulary. Especially when people calling, they in their Twitter inbox, they got the homeboys meeting them at the rec and at the gym or wherever they be playing at the outside court, talking to them, recruiting them. That's I don't even know who they're gonna get for that job at that point because who you gonna coach? The kids they got that can play gonna be gone. And I'm not saying they're leaving, but
right now you got football. Football is holding a lot of kids.
Okay.
Understand that's just Lake Wells, the kids play both sports.
Gotcha. Well, I know that's a sad topic, so we'll get off of that real quick. So last thing before we go, y'all, all four of y'all real quick, all three of y'all. Who you got tonight? Heat or
Heat up on them guys right now.
Heat or Boston?
Jimmy Bucket, the best player in the playoffs right now. I don't care what nobody say.
Jimmy Buckets, huh? Jimmy Buckets. Okay, so
he's different, Coach. He is so different. He's a dog. He brings it on both ends, and he motivates his teammates to play past their abilities. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't have the talent around him that all these other superstars have, but yet he's able to motivate them to play at a superstar level. You know what I'm saying? You got to give him credit for that. You talking about an 8-seed team in a conference championship right now, and it look like they're going to be in the championship game competing for NBA championship.
Coach, and then they got nine undrafted guys on that team. That's just it's amazing what they're doing. It's amazing what they're doing. Spoelstra, maybe he'll get the respect that he deserved now because he ain't never really got it, in my opinion. Maybe he'll get the respect he deserves with what he's doing right now. But I want to end with that one. So Coach Burton, we'll give you a chance as we get ready to jump off. Anything you want to say, any final words, sir? We appreciate you, man. It's been an honor and a privilege and a pleasure to get you on and chop it up and get some gems from you. We knew it was going to be good, so we wanted to keep you on and let you stay long as you want. So anything you got before we jump off?
I appreciate the opportunity to come on and chop it up with the brethren and any insight that I can give. But I just say, I ask all of us that are coaching travel ball, we have to come to a meeting of the minds if we want to do our kids justice. I'm all open. I'm for that, and at any point in time. So if anybody else has any ideas, but we have to come to a meeting of the minds if we want to help our children advance, and that's no egos involved. And just for some of the questions that you were putting out there, how can we keep our best talent here rather than it going somewhere else? You have the resources, you do, and you have the magnitude of making it happen on all levels. So we have to come together and get ahead of the curve, as Mr. Bill was saying, rather than us waiting later rather than early, because we're only hurting our kids if we don't come together and get on one accord. And that's me and my perspective.
Okay. Well, we appreciate you, Coach. It has been a pleasure, man. We enjoyed it greatly. And I guess we finishing up this week. The kids, they done. The school year is done. Summer is up. So appreciate it. And congrats to everybody for making it through, surviving, slipping, skipping, however you got across the line. Congrats on getting across the line. And guys, make sure you're putting the work in the summertime. Like Coach has been telling y'all got a lot of good gems today, man. So hopefully you took them as help, not as criticism. Sure, some people did take it as criticism, but hey, what can you do? So anyway, that's all we got for tonight, man. Y'all be safe this week. Until next time, PolkHoops, man, we out. Y'all be safe. Thank y'all for rocking with us. We appreciate you.